Vegas, all things Tenerife and more. We're in Dublin, still in Dublin, and today I'm going to take you on another protest. I suppose people ask why I'm covering some of the protests and some of the more controversial issues that are occurring in Dublin City. And the reason being that there is controversy in Dublin City. It's part of this city, it's part of being Irish. Yeah, normally I do travel vlogs, as everybody knows. Food, restaurants, that sort of stuff, excursions and that sort of thing. Where some of my recent ones have been a little bit different, I suppose, for want of a better word. I'm actually up in the Garden of Remembrance, which is one of the most peaceful places you'll ever sit in Dublin City, and it's the start. This is where the protest begins. So from here it'll head through the city. Now, why are the protests? Why are there so many protests in Ireland at the moment? I suppose simple answer is we have a government that's not listening to people. I'm going to go for a little walk while I'm doing this. Yeah, we've got a government that doesn't listen. So I suppose a disclaimer on this, that these protests have absolutely nothing to do with racism. They have nothing to do with immigration. And it's kind of ironic. I was actually speaking to two Gardaí there about 10 minutes ago. I wanted to find out what time the protest was kicking off at, what time it started at. So I thought it was a bit earlier than it was. And he told me that it was 2 o'clock and that it was a protest against immigration. And there lies part of the problem. It's not a protest about immigration, it's a protest against illegal immigration. There's a big difference between the two of them. And when you have a police force that's telling people that these protests are about immigration, they're wrong, and it's not. And that's part of the problem, I suppose, is the fact that people are being misinformed, one, about what this whole thing is about, and two, when you see the Gardaí giving that sort of information out, it's completely wrong. So, in a second, let me spin this around. So what is it about? It's about illegal immigration, and it's about being kept in the dark for so long. Irish people have been kept in the dark for far too long, and it's why the protests are continuing to go ahead, because no matter what how many times people are protesting, they're still not being given the correct information. They're not being told the truth. So I suppose they'll keep on going until such time as they do. That will probably mean that you'll end up changing the government completely. Well, then that's what has to be done. And I'm not a political type of individual. Certainly I have no issue with people of race. And that, again, this isn't what this is about. And this is where it keeps getting lost. The whole argument about this is illegal immigration, and something has to be done about it. When you see some of my other vlogs about Tent City and one last week about the murder down by the canal, the amount of illegal immigrants, and it's proven, this isn't hearsay and heard tell, this is fact. People are coming into this country, they're destroying their passports on the plane. Mick O'Leary himself spoke about this recently about Ryanair, that they're finding a large number of destroyed passports from various countries throughout the world when people are arriving here and then declaring themselves as refugees, which they're not. And we have a ridiculously lax social welfare system here, and our government is obscenely relaxed at the moment when it comes to this, and there has to be an ulterior motive to it. There's no question about that, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not of that sort of mindset. I'm very factual. So facts that I can see at the moment is that we have a huge amount of illegal immigrants coming into the country, and they're setting up camp, literally setting up camp on the streets of Dublin, and it's not something you want to see. Dublin, its mainstay is tourism. One of our biggest incomes is tourism, and you can't but think that this is and will put tourists off coming to the country. And there's no question it will. There's absolutely no question it will. I mean, they don't come here for the weather. I know it's sunny at the moment, but it's not always, you know. This isn't what we're renowned for. People don't come here for the weather. They come here for the Céad Míle Fáilte. They come here for the welcome that we're renowned for. And yet, at the moment, we're looking like that's not what people want to come here for. I'm sure people of colour will think twice before coming to Dublin when they see how these protests are being viewed in the media, in traditional media. I suppose the last one I did, and I actually really enjoyed doing it, was the fact that, yeah, I am independent when it comes to my views. This is, I'm looking at, and I suppose for want of a better word, I'm reporting on it in real time, speaking to real people who are here, and also picking up on the feeling that you get while you're in these. The first one I did, I have to say, I was actually petrified. I was actually fearful. I didn't know what was going to happen. I wasn't sure whether it was going to be a violent protest or what was going to happen. And I have to say I was pleasantly surprised, because it was very, very peaceful, and it was very much fact-based. And that's all people are asking for, is to be answered. So what is the Irish government doing to alleviate the concerns of the Irish citizens? They're not doing anything. They're doing absolutely nothing. They're keeping us in the dark. Simple as. They can't at this stage think that they're going to get re-elected or they're going to get back in again. And surprisingly enough, it's all of them. It's Sinn Féin, it's Fianna Fáil, it's Fine Gael. The majority of them are useless. And that's what the Irish people are saying now, because none of them are willing to stand up and say, right, this is why these people are coming in here. Why the majority of them are male. Why the majority of them are of an age where they should be either home fighting in the country, or they have, why are they here? What country are they coming from? What's the reason for this mass migration to Ireland? Apart from free accommodation and a social welfare system that's an absolute doddle, because that's all people are here for. They put their paw out, they get paid. Anyway, so let's see what's going to happen. As I said, it's due to kick off about 2 o'clock. I'm not going to do a huge amount of footage other than to let you see the amount of people that are actually at these events. It is normally, the last one I was at, it was in the thousands. It wasn't like a couple of hundred people. It was thousands of people walked through the streets of Dublin with the same mindset. And they were of all age groups, all backgrounds, and several mixed nationalities as well. Because as I said again, this is not about immigration. As the guard said to me earlier on when I was talking to him, this is about illegal immigration. It's not the same thing. People don't have any issue, Irish people have no issue with immigration, none whatsoever. We've populated the whole world 10 times over. This is about illegal immigration and nothing more. And it's also about being kept in the dark. Irish people, we want to know what's going on. This isn't just a Dublin issue, this is an Irish issue. And we need to see it as that. We need to see it as an Irish issue. Although the majority of it, the likes of 10 cities around the city, is here. But that's not to say it's not affecting every other county in Ireland, because it is. We just need to do something about it. Okay, so as I said, this isn't due to start till about 2 o'clock, so I'm just doing this little intro while it's quiet. Things are starting to pick up. I see people starting to move in, crowds are starting to gather. So we'll see, and we'll take it from there. And that's what it's about. It's about Irish nationalism. It's got nothing to do with racism. I know I keep on saying this, but that's the reality of it. I mean, mainstream media just aren't reporting this. And people need to be aware of exactly what's going on. As I said earlier on, there was a group there referring to people here as racist. There's no racism here. This is what happens when you keep people in the dark. Like, you have to ask the question, why are these people, but why are these, majority of the people that are coming in are men that are coming into the country. It's not, how are they getting in without passports? How are they getting in? How are they being given the tents, being given locations to live in when we struggle to house our own people? And it's the most disappointing thing about this, is the fact that we can't house our own people, and yet we're finding refuge for these people, and the majority of them are not political refugees or otherwise. And the passions are running really high. I mean, people are coming in here time and time again to try and get answers from a government that doesn't seem to want to respond. So you have to ask yourself, why are the government not responding? Because when the government doesn't respond, this is what happens. People go and try and find their own answers.
cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be.
Baby, and I just have a bit in order for a minute, please. A lot of people want to know why we diverted in here. Because we won't be led around like merry men by the establishment. They have the tents from Mount Street down at the Custom House. They have the other people that were here earlier on down on the O'Connell Street, leading us into a trap with women and children here, and we will not be led by sheep into this garden.
Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do it. That's right. It only takes one volunteer. So we have. Who streets? Our streets! 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 And Kulak says no!
Now the first thing we're going to do is Sheila is going to lay a wreath, and the wreath is a half-dead wreath in memory of our nation, which was sold out again by the signing of the Asylum Pact. Sheila. Thank you, Sheila. All of the speakers today will be elected councillors who were returned in June to the various councils around the city. Returned by the people who are opposed to what's happening in this country. And we congratulate all of those councillors who were elected, all of those who stood for office and who nearly made it. All of those who campaigned at every level to ensure the victories that we had. And be in no doubt that we did win in June. And we will win again in October. Now the first speaker will be Glenn Moore from the Irish Freedom Party. Their first elected candidate in Ireland to a Dublin council. Glenn.
Hello folks, my name is Glenn Moore and I'm elected councillor for the Irish Freedom Party. Yes! I'm an engineer now serving my people in the South Dublin County Council. Woo! I just want to start off by saying I couldn't be more proud of our movement over the last few months. Our people, the people of Ireland, are finally waking up to the madness that has taken hold of her. The same madness that has already taken hold of the rest of Europe and is leaving the continent in a dystopian nightmare where immoral crimes is ever rising, placing the free people of Europe in a state of fear. I cannot fathom the concept of those fighting for freedom, justice and our nation are labelled as far right. From those who wish to remove the venerated position of mothers and women in our constitution, flood our cities and towns with undocumented migrants who are committing crimes at drastic levels. And yes, we do have our own criminals, but we don't need to import more. And finally, a compelled speech law that has no place in the free world. The law is something that echoes Nazi Germany or communist Russia and they call us the fascists. I'd like to remind everyone here that you are the sons and daughters of liberty, and children and great-grandchildren of those who established a republic for our people and the generations to follow. We must fight to preserve it. The government is no longer centre or centre-right in politics or in mind any longer. They play with the poisonous woke movement and force the taxpayers to pay for everything but ourselves, taking the very food from our mouths and giving it to people who have never contributed to this society. And make no mistake, they are being looked after at levels much higher than anyone born in Ireland. As much as 50,000 a year for an asylum seeker to stay in a 5-star hotel. Absolute madness. It's strangling us as a people when we already have our own Irish people who are homeless and begging on the streets. It makes no sense.
Get them out!
Okay, there you go. What can I say? You can see and hear the passion that's brewing in Ireland at the moment. Conspiracy theories about them being far right, and then you see the far left, the little handful of people there. There was about 4 or 5 people there with their racism waving racism banners, well, homemade banners, and 7 Gardaí minding them. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And as I said, I'm in the middle of it. It's not racism. There are, of course, there will always be 1 or 2 mouthpieces, no matter where you are or what you do. There will always be those. That's not the opinion of the majority of people at that protest. The majority of people at that protest were law-abiding, and their only thing is they want an Ireland that isn't overrun with illegal immigration, and that's the most important statement of this whole thing. And as you heard that man speaking there, that's exactly it. It's about illegal immigration. It is not about immigration. And yet, as I said at the beginning, I spoke to 2 Gardaí and they labelled the march as an anti-immigration march, which it's not, and it wasn't. I just think it's important that people stand up for what they believe in. And what I'm looking at there are Irish men and women standing up for what they believe in. And rightly so, because without it, the country will be overrun. There's no question about that. It will be overrun. And it's, as I said, it's not about illegal immigration. Sorry, about immigration. It's about illegal immigration. So hopefully that's what you take from this. And I'd like to see, if possible, that more people would turn out for these protests, because they are safe. They are, Ireland's worth fighting for. And the questions that are being asked have to be answered. Otherwise it's going to end up, I don't know how, but it doesn't have a good ending. And you can see that there is a lot of anger among young people there today. I was speaking to some lad, he was only in his 20, 21 years of age. I could feel the anger off him, and I get that. I understand his anger. I understand where he's coming from with his anger, because he can't see a reason why all of these people are coming into this country, and he sees that as him being ignored by his own country and by his government. So make of it what you will. I hope you enjoyed it. I will cover more of these when I'm here at home in Ireland, so if you like what you see, hit the like, subscribe, share, and the bell for notification, and I'll talk to you soon. Slán.